Let's talk a little bit about how to finish up your robot, get it ready for competition. Now, obviously, if you've just got the basic robot, right now it moves the way you tell it to move for the most part, but it's really not going to do any picking up of frogs or barrels or putting anything over the fence or anything like that. You need to modify what you've got to do those things. So you need to add something onto it, and you're more than welcome to change the base, and you're more than welcome to change whatever part of the robot you want as long as you spend less than $10. And we talked about the rules about that, and you'll find those rules on the Moodle website. But here you've got a real simple version of a robot. This is what I came up with for my robot, and I attached what I call a rake to my robot. Now, this rake can capture frogs, can capture maybe a barrel, can capture alligators, and drag them back to base. And I control my rake with motor number 3. That's the blue motor here. And I've got that mounted with a zip tie to a couple of longer standoffs, which I've glued to the base. Now, it's a real practical thing, but my rake obviously is not going to do everything that I want it to do. So I built my rake out of K'Nex, the toy K'Nex. And the great thing about K'Nex, or something like K'Nex, is that it's changeable, and you're able to, during competition, drive your robot back to base, pick it up, and change the end effector. That's what we call it in industry. We can change the end effector to do something different. We can take off the rake and maybe attach a different part onto our robot that will perform a different function. So that's the great thing about a product like K'Nex or Legos or Erector Set pieces or whatever you might be able to come up with. And you can estimate the price, the cost on these for your bill of materials. So you make sure you wind up under $10, and that should be really, really easy to do with a product like K'Nex or Legos or something like that. It's not going to take a whole lot of pieces to do what you want it to do. Now, how do you connect these things? Well, the way I did it was connected directly to my motor 3, the blue motor there. And you can see I've got one of the horns in place, one of the lever type horns in place there, and I've got 2 small screws, and they're sheet metal type screws that are going through the horn and into the piece of K'Nex. They're tiny little screws, a lot like the screws that are included with the motors. So if you've got some of those screws left over, you can use it to do something like this. Or you can buy tiny little screws at the hardware store and add them to your robot as well. So that's how I connect everything up, and it works fairly well, just this simple way like this. Another thing you want to do before you head off to competition is try to get a handle on all those wires that are going everywhere. So you want to arrange the wires so you still have access to your switch and you still have visibility for your LED lights. So I used a zip tie again to zip tie a bundle of wires to one of the standoffs that's holding up my brain board. So a couple of ideas there for you before competition, and all of this is up to you now. There's no prescribed way to modify your robot for competition, but just a couple of ideas to help get you started.